Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. We have with us today Ken Fax. I know everybody's going to say, what's Fax? But that's his last name, right?
Yes, this.
Yeah, so, and his Twitter handle is I Can Fax. I Can, C-A-N, Fax. I Can Fax. So that's a very good handle. I like it.
Thank you. Try to be creative.
So Ken does a lot of things. He's an excellent networker. That's how I met him. And he also is a CTO, correct?
Yes, correct. Alexander Networks.
Alexander Networks. So Alexander Networks plays tech projects and you provide the IT support?
IT services, mobile support, mobile wireless, satellite communications, security for nearly 20 years.
Wow.
Internationally in the US and Brazil, Japan, Hong Kong, and Germany and China so far.
Oh, that's awesome. So you are, you know at least Portuguese and English?
Yes.
Two languages?
Yes, two languages, but usually one at a time.
One at a time. And when you go to China, you have an interpreter?
We have an interpreter, have a team. We have a team of people as a CTO.
Who help you?
Yeah, and managing partner. We have other officials or executives that help out in those transactions.
Oh, but most people in China understand English?
Yes, quite a few, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so the English is the international language?
Yeah. The writing can be a challenge, but there is a team, there are team members in place that can actually
help you?
Help and
negotiate
the work, yes. As teams, we have about maybe 12 people altogether.
And when you go to Europe, the same thing, everybody speaks English?
Using English, usually in Germany or UK, Scotland or France or Estonia, Russia, usually everyone speaks English.
Yeah. So you learned also a little bit of German?
A little bit of German years ago, yes. Working for some companies, banking companies and tech companies in Germany, Berlin.
So you are mostly into banking or other industries?
It's been more so of the backbones because when it comes to networks, everything touches the networks and the communications layer.
Yeah.
So often my role was to engineer those systems and train developers or engineers on how do you take care of the systems or keep them going for the entirety of the company, such as banks, Bank of America, Visa, Wells Fargo.
So big
Federal
companies, like you just mentioned, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they already have in place a lot of technical people, right?
Yes.
But they call you for special projects?
Special projects, to manage projects. And also I've worked as an employee in the past with Bank of America or as a long-term contract with the Federal Reserve System.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yes.
So they heard about you and they know you know their system?
Yes, and specific stock exchange and other exchange networks and wealth management are been also involved in annuities, and so understanding the compliancy, the way the service is run, what's required in the background even before it's classified as an actual commercial project.
So you already have like a feeling or an understanding of the industry?
Yes, yes, correct.
So that's why they call you?
Yes, that's correct.
Rather than train people inside there.
Well, sometimes I'm also training the individuals inside to
oh, so that they get took over later?
Yes, yes.
Ah, okay. So, yeah, I looked at your LinkedIn, so many different companies you work for, like fintech or...
Yes, fintech area with cryptocurrency or with the non-cryptocurrency such, because of working in the banks and the financial industry, always had to validate and make sure that everyone's money or the companies are safe. So.
Oh, okay. So all that make you very knowledgeable about how networks work within banking, within financial institutions.
Yes.
Any other industry you like?
Within government agencies, it's been mostly federal
also?
Agencies with nonprofits such as advising or assisting in campus technology, such as at Boston College, City College of San Francisco, MIT, Stanford, and I always share what I've learned with future generations or older generations.
So because this is a show called All About Your Profession, so in your profession, when you come in as a consultant, so you examine what's going on with the project and you say, this is the change we need to make.
Yeah, well, I'll listen to the project and help with the changes that are needed to be made, and with the resources meaning hiring the right individuals to work on the project, and how to report it to the chief sponsors, which is usually people in the C-level staff, CTOs, CIOs.
Okay,
CEOs.
And you tell them in order to fix all this, we need so many people on my team?
that we need so many people on the team with a particular set of experience, with the skill sets, and involved in interviewing the individuals or helping to give the right parameters on what's required for the project for the individuals.
Okay, now, do you bring these people or do you tell them, look for them?
It's been both. Usually ask for recommendations first, and then others will also look for the parameters that we're seeking to hire the individuals.
Yeah.
Or the other, creating the products
And
later
it could
down
be a
the-
mix of both?
Yes, it could be a mix of both.
So if you know someone who's really good, you bring them in. If not, you tell the company, find me that kind of person.
Yeah, if it's a good technical skill fit, management fit, attitude fit, and a good cultural fit for the company.
Ah, got it.
So
it has to, they have to work together.
yes, everyone has to work together for the sake of the success of the projects of the company.
And so usually a project lasts how long?
Projects have been anywhere as on demand or for 1 year or 2 years at a time.
It could be that
It
long?
could be, yes, yes.
Oh, have you had a project that long, like a year?
Yes, I've had 18-month projects.
Yeah.
I've had 6-month projects on demand, and sometimes the companies, such as when I worked with Hitachi, I'll have colleagues that I worked with there, and I worked directly with companies, and they'll call me again. So it's a matter of repeat business or advising on how to structure those projects.
Okay. All right. So you come in and first you consult with the people who are there a little bit.
Yes.
Say, what are you working on right now?
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever they're not doing, then you step in.
Well, then I sort of look at the project, talk to the key sponsors, see what's approved, see what the resources, the people that are available for the project, and then from there, help to determine how to get it through particular timelines and scales to meet the deliverables, as we call them.
Oh, okay. You're a little bit sweaty. You can
Oh,
use
sure.
your towel
Okay.
here, maybe because it's warm in here.
Yes,
What is...
this is a nice hot day today. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, I met you yesterday and we went to Google, right?
Yes, yes.
And you met all kinds of app developers. Do you also help these people?
Yes, for nearly so more than 10 years, I've been mentoring our many developers, application developers, especially in the mobile space, since 2001 at least.
Okay.
And so that's why you saw many developers saying hello to me, because I've actually helped them or mentored them or led them in the right directions as far as building successful a mobile application.
Is there an app that you have built yourself?
I've worked on some enterprise level apps, and currently I'm working in some ways to bring in education into sectors where what they call citizen developers, where they don't need a lot of coding experience, but they can get engaged, they can evolve, they can build mobile apps according to what they need, like in their schools or in their communities, and it touches finance or Bitcoins or agriculture, hydroponics, healthcare. So.
Okay, so you got involved also with healthcare?
Yes, I do.
So at which level? At the Obamacare or something else?
I get involved at the working with postdocs, researchers who want to perhaps move it to a mobile platform or a digital e-healthcare platform. Okay. That's been pretty much the experience, and I have experience working sometimes or mentoring at UCSF. Also in the past, I worked with pharmaceutical companies in the U.S. and Mexico. They
want to do an internal app?
It's either internal app or connecting their services where it's in a mobile or digital e-health delivery platform. Yeah.
So they consult with you because you have done it?
Because I've done it, yes, and because I've been involved in telemedicine or in pharmaceutical leading teams for quality control research for U.S. companies like Boehringer Ingelheim, and I've also on demand with Bayer and Merck for.
So apps are something new. Did you self-teach yourself? Are you self-taught? Or did you learn that when you were in school? Because apps are not something you would have learned in school, right?
No, but in 2001, I was involved in building what they call the MVNOs, the Mobile Virtual Network operating systems or infrastructures, because all the apps or the services pretty much had to have their own system set up when they're connecting to the internet, for example. So I was helping in that capacity and helped with initial launches for Nokia, what was called the Brew, which is a Java-based.
So you saw how an app is being done?
We built, from the back end and to the front end.
Nice. So you know how to do front-end, back-end stuff?
Yes, when I have to, yes. Yes.
So is it true that an app can be very simple and be done in 24 hours and other apps could take a year? So how do you determine how long it's going to take to do an app? That's what I don't get it. I see people, they say, oh, you can learn to do it in a day. And others say, no, it's a little bit more complicated.
Well, the most important thing is validating the process, understanding what are you building the app for, who's going to use it, understanding the target audience. And then you can perhaps prototype it within a day. That's
Okay.
to be fine. But
Prototype.
realistically, it may take some time. It depends on the team members that you have or whether you're doing it yourself, the time you have allocated.
Yeah.
These days, as in 2017, you can actually build apps maybe in 4 days on the weekends. So there are several hackathons
A lot of
that are around.
hackathon along, yeah.
And those are good ways for people to get
To learn.
experience, whether they have coding experience or not.
Oh, okay. So when these people are working in a team of, let's say, 4 people, they make it accessible on your iPhone or Android?
Yes, that's
And
the plan, yes.
so let's say you have a website and you want to put it into an iPhone. So you got to make the website more simple,
Yes.
like more understanding on the phone, because the screen is smaller.
Yes, correct.
So not only you have to make it smaller, but not as much information in it, correct?
That's correct, and many times it depends on the audience. What we call it, if it's going from a state where it's an actual website and goes to mobile, it's a consideration what they call responsive design. So
Yeah.
the responsive design makes it more
Easy
encouraging.
to download too, right?
Well, it's more like easier to download, easier to see, easier to adapt to the size, a flexible size, whether it's a tablet or whether it's a phone, whether it's
It has to be adaptable for the iPhone and the tablet.
in most cases. That's the best way to design. But sometimes you might have to go into some other particulars to design it uniquely for a iPhone versus an Android phone.
So since it could take, like you said, 24 hours, 4 days, a year, how do you determine how much you're going to charge the client?
Well, typically you can see what the client budget is, like what's maybe the industry standard, and according to that, but it's not just making the app, it's how do you support the customer along the way, because it's normally a growth process.
Then there's little tweaks and corrections.
In SEO,
so
optimization.
first you do the app, then you fix all the problems.
Right. Yeah, and in some cases, they also ask us to help them to advertise the app, which is very important, because when it comes to mobile
People
applications, you need to know who
that
to connect
it
to
exists.
and run the analytics on that to say
You do
how
that too?
Yes. How
You do the
successful.
promo?
As a promotion, yes, and then help to identify the audiences,
Okay, so you're specialist in SEO and social media
Yeah,
advertising?
yes, and social media and SEOs, because I've had to actually build the systems because they were connected to networks. And understanding the networks, you understand analytics, and we're always tracing, so you can see how successful the transactions or the web hits were. So
that, as a CTO, that's part of your job?
That's part of the job and advisory skills, right?
And then suppose you're not a marketing manager, you're going to hire someone who's specialist in that?
In most cases, but I've had to be pulled into technical companies and help to start what they call the PSA divisions, professional service divisions, PSDs, because we had to actually say, we had to analyze, say, who's the customer, what's their budget, what do they want to accomplish, and then create a proposal according to what they need. And so it's like a sales engineering process where you understand the technical requirements, but then according to that, you sell exactly what they need, or you offer them the services, or the hand-holding, or the consulting services.
So that's on top of what you would provide
Yes,
on the technical part?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so then you tell them, this is going to take me a year to do, or is this going to take me 6 months to do?
Yeah, we can pretty much put the timelines in, saying, on a normal case, here's what's required. If we have all these resources in place, this is the amount of time and required. We have what you call agile or scrum processes. I mean, it's very fast, or it's maybe iterated advancements or updates.
So it could go slower if you have less people.
Yeah, it depends also on the architecture, because now you have architecture such as what they call JavaScript, and JavaScript helps to take a collection of various languages or quick formats and to build it faster. So imagine you're taking maybe 20 worth years of someone's experience, but you have it concatenated, and so it doesn't take as much time to build anymore.
Okay. So you go there, not only you have to determine the length of the job, but you have to determine how many people you need. And if they cannot afford all these people, then you tell them it's going to take longer.
Well, not necessarily if they can afford it, but we can maybe coach them along the way. Maybe sometimes we can see where they're actually missing revenue.
Okay.
So we can show, like, here's what you can do to increase your revenue, and we'll work with them, or maybe help to find sponsors.
Find
get
the
attention.
sponsors to do the app.
Right. So we'll find the sponsors to help to hire the people, or build the team, and build the app. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, because Google wants to support all these things, right? I mean, yesterday they say we support all the startups and stuff like that.
Yes. Google, Amazon, IBM, they're pretty. And
so they have an interest in helping all these people develop their apps because they might buy one of them, correct?
Yes, and it's a matter of getting attention as part of marketing, advertising. That's what many of the tech companies are doing these days. For example, when they have the hackathons, when they have the shows, it's all about marketing. And
All the people who are into that show up, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And then if Google likes one of them, they might make a proposal.
Well, it can be Google, or it can be anyone who's looking at the apps within the Google infrastructure. So it's open to the world, anyone who has access. Because there's active advertising.
Google is open source in some ways.
Yeah. I mean, many companies are open source because that's the way they can actually hire people without hiring them, and perhaps there's a mistaken employee, but you can actually open up the doors, and it gives a competitive advantage.
Okay. Now, since they open source worldwide, sometimes you have someone in India who's interested in the project, and you bring them in. Yes.
If they qualify, always interview them.
It's hard to find out if they're qualified.
Well, not really. Usually, go by with companies I've already worked with, so there's already some reputation or credibility in place.
Oh, they have that. Okay.
Well, that's what I do. That's what I've learned to do as a CTO, because we actually qualify and make sure you have the right people or companies that can partner and deliver. Right.
So they have track record.
Yes, they must have track records.
But they charge a little bit less than American staff.
It depends on what part of the country in the U.S. And the developers are all over the world. They use many in South America. We use many here, or help with some of the students, and whether different ages. We have students from maybe 15 to even to 78 years old that are actually involved in helping to build mobile apps.
And they're good at it.
They're good, and they use their existing knowledge base or existing experience, and from there we can bridge over to say, here's what you've done in your career, here's how this is just the same.
Let's say they're 15 to 18, they're not going to ask any money because they don't even know how much they're worth, right? So they're going to say, give me what you want?
No, we try to be fair to them and their parents. We try to get them to get involved so they can see how they can actually be active digital entrepreneurs.
Really?
And they can help pay for their education or their college, and that gives them incentive to maybe have their own business. We've had kids as young as 14 years old have really great ideas and able to build a team and get products out there and make revenue and support their school.
So there is some success story out there.
Yeah, there are quite a few, yeah.
Yeah, which countries start early? Like you mentioned 14, 15, what countries start them so early?
Oh, it's everywhere. We have
in America,
kids
they don't start them that early.
No, there are kids that come to these events with their parents and they learn. And I've been at Stanford. I've been part of the Stanford program to help kids between 10 and 17 to understand mobile applications.
Wow.
Every 6 months.
And then maybe Stanford accept them in their programs?
Well, that particular program allows called Stanford Splash, allows them to feel like what it's like to be on a college campus, the Ivy League college campus. And so they have experience, and during the weekends we'd have something where for example, I talk about mobile applications and get them to talk amongst each other. So that's part of the validation process. And then they think and they learn, and they talk to their parents, so they move further into their schools to find out how can I do this, or give them the resources online, like with EDX, for example.
Okay, but since they're underage, are you obligated to pay them? No.
I don't know that.
But you do pay them anyway.
No, we maybe coach them along the way. There might be, if there's maybe some family friends or families and friends that have kids. In that case, we get them involved, and sure, we end up giving them, paying them, or giving them some bonuses, or getting game cards or game cards or gift cards. There's some camps that I work with and encourage them in a way to how do you get the kids to get involved and maybe actively playing with mobile applications and then learning to code from there.
Okay.
So,
But do they get any college credit? No.
that
Maybe
depends.
they get a little scholarship to get in?
There are some camps where or schools they actually do gather around to give them scholarships based
Okay.
on performance,
Awesome.
and that happens quite a bit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Or executive training, they have kids that get to the executive training programs.
Oh, really?
Yes, they can.
So that's so you yourself have a young son. You get him involved in all these things.
Yes, he's very much involved. He's very good. Yes.
Yeah, he knows how to do an app.
He knows how to work with security. He has a passion for gaming, but he's pretty advanced. He's more advanced than I am in the gaming.
The gaming. We have gaming training here.
Oh, really?
So when
Oh,
he
okay.
comes to America, he can
Oh,
attend
that's good.
here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So his involvement with his company, with your company, is to negotiate something.
His involvement is to listen, learn, watch, maybe help in clerical activities or advise. And he's actually been involved in proving that he can set up security on iPhones, for example.
He knows
Yeah,
how.
he knows that he's very fast. Yeah, I was very surprised, but he
On
absorbs
an iPhone.
on an iPhone how to set security, set up networks, and thus.
One-on-one, you mean, or on a set of phones?
It's been on singular phones and on multiple phones, on
Okay.
iPhones, and on so.
It's important to have security also on the
Yeah, always.
iPhone, right?
Right. And
Not just on the computer.
yes.
Is iPhone security also a big topic now? I
Yeah,
mean,
yes, security is
because it used to be computers only, and now
Mm-hmm.
it's moving in the iPhone more and more.
Security is always a problem. Any connected device, you have to be concerned about security. And inherently, with some of the chips that are out there, no matter which is the iPhone or Android phone type phone, there have been issues with some of the
Hackers.
the hackers. And so there's always good to understand what's the worst case scenario and how to protect yourself backwards from there. And that's one
Because
reason why
some
you also
companies are very confidential, right? I mean, they have proprietary
yes
things that
yeah,
they don't want people to go
Yes,
spy
always a-
on them.
yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Do they can they keep all these proprietary invention off the iPhone?
It's the constant
Concern?
concern because it's always changing, and
Yeah.
many times hackers are always changing to adapt or to perhaps set and wait for the next adaptation to hack. But that's why you always have to
Is
build
there a way a company can keep some of these files off the public access? I mean, there must be.
Yeah, there are ways to do that with blockchaining. That's something that's currently popular. That's why because people can actually protect their access in some ways. We actually offer ID security programs. And
Oh
not
yes,
just
several IDs, like
yeah.
several passwords, not just one.
no, not just one. It's ID management. We offer those services as part of
You put
networking.
your password, but then you have to also look at the message on your iPhone.
Yeah, or a password messenger and be able to detect that it's actually coming from you. You have to know if you've actually, for example, if you set up something in Facebook, there's ways you can have a two-way authentication, not only when you sign into Facebook, say on your computer, but you can also have it where you are sent a code to your phone
So
to
that they
validate
let
that
you
it
in.
is you.
So that they let you in.
Yeah, so
Especially for private groups, right?
yeah, it depends. You can design it that way. There's more consumer choices to be responsible for your own security and privacy.
Yeah, but all these securities we just mentioned, they're free. I mean, when I'm sent the code and Google tells me enter the code, I don't pay for it.
No, but most people have to take the actions to be responsible to do it.
Oh yeah, you have
yes,
to respond to the code
Right.
and enter it, or else you don't have access to that website, right?
Yes. But you can even go further than that. You can have a second and third way to activate some sort of response to say, this is my code. This is what I'm authorizing
so
at
it's
this
not
moment.
Google that's paying for it; it's the company.
Companies may pay for it, yes, and sometimes companies will offer you that service free, but then hoping also that you move along with them further for paid services.
Okay, so
That's the choice.
there's even more service they can add on
Yes.
to, like protect your whole IT infrastructure kind of thing.
Protecting IT infrastructure, manage IT, ISP services, right?
Okay, so So to be able to do the job of a CTO, what did you have to show? I mean, did you have to show that you're an engineer and then that you have experience? How did you get to that level of CTO?
I started by tinkering a lot at the very beginning, and working with kids and working with tech training programs in high school.
And then you learned and learned and learned more and more?
I learned and applied and started a business when I was very young to tinker and fix Commodore computers or PC computers or Apple computers.
Oh, you learned how to have your hands on.
Yeah, and write code for telecommunications, at AT&T code, that sort of thing, and advise and getting involved in chat rooms like AOL or Yahoo and give advice to people on how to best set up, design the applications, how to detect.
Chat room used to be so popular.
Yeah, now I pretty much do that on social media or asked to do that, and I've spoken at library conferences.
But I
or
remember
events.
chat room. I remember where people get in groups and stuff.
Yes, yes.
But now it's kind of fading away, kind of thing. It's like you said, it's Facebook groups now.
There's more. It's more communities. Also, maybe companies try to attract more people to the communities, and they get the communities to self-administer themselves. And that's one of the ways we're also growing in marketing.
Yeah, you mentioned yesterday that some groups can grow in the thousands. Like you mentioned, there's one that grew up to 19,000.
Yes, yes.
So those groups have a general interest if they are that big. They're not that specialized.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, and many times it helps to also perhaps submit articles or invite people to submit articles and their experience
on the group.
On the group, right, so they can actually share the information with each other.
Could the group be also public? If
the group can be public, yes.
So anybody can look at it?
Yes, yes, if the moderator or the administrator allows it to be public, yeah.
Yeah, if it's nothing of importance secret being shared online.
Oh, yes, that's correct. Mm-hmm.
So you need the moderator to catch something that could be protected or something.
Yeah. It's good to have a moderator sometimes for that reason, or sometimes it's good to have the moderator to X people out who are not complying with the community, or they're not respecting other individuals and are not really contributing on the same subject matter or the theme as
a moderator is very important. Yeah.
Okay.
So right now, what's your next move? I mean, do you want to go more toward those startups that we met yesterday, or more toward the app world, or you want to stay within the infrastructure, CTO kind of thing, IT?
Well, I'm more involved in working with enterprises that have real solutions, that have real customers, that have real budgets, that actually are educated enough or advanced enough to move forward, and that way they can help other companies to move forward, and sort of setting the leadership and example to how to move forward successfully, instead of just dreaming to have a startup that may or may not make it. You have to have some rules in place. You need to have some criteria. You need to have some workflows, and people need to work together. Yeah,
because you can have, anybody can have an idea, but whether it's going to be...
How can you execute? Yeah, the execution is the primary thing.
Yeah, but whether the company is going to be successful, that's another story, right?
Yeah. There's more than enough opportunities now where you don't need to start a new company with your own idea. There's plenty of opportunities for people to engage with experienced companies and to be partners in a way with those companies because they've already validated their successes.
Oh, okay, like Salesforce.
Like Salesforce, GE,
they keep
Microsoft.
Adding more and more stuff.
So it's better to partner with them and build your own company that way to be successful.
And you within them, within their umbrella.
Yes, yes.
And what if someone comes out of Stanford and say, no, I want to build my own empire?
That's their decision, but they still need some sort of technology or networks in the back, and they still need to understand and have the capacity or partner with the right companies. If they want to build from their own, from the ground up, they can do that, but it'll take a longer time for them to be successful.
It's very expensive too, right?
Yeah, but you could actually do both at the same time as well. You can use some services, and you can also have running parallel and build some of your own services, your own infrastructure, our own software design.
But if you partner, like you said, with a company like Salesforce, Autodesk, then they keep part of the money and then they give you part of it. Is that the thing?
That can be the case, but you can also have your own services because they have SDKs, software development kits, and APIs. That's the momentum. That's why they have so many companies that are starting up these days or growing because they're using existing APIs, application program interfaces, which is created by some of the bigger companies or even a small company, and then with the open source movement, they're sharing much of this information. You're able to share this information and build something according to the qualified customers or the clients, or to offer other companies.
Okay. So, so it's up to the individual to see if it would be better to be 100% owner or to partner with another company and be 50% owners.
It could be, it can be both these days in the last few years, because you can have your own company but partner, and you can still bill or charge other companies for your company services, and plus you can share revenue with the companies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can do both.
So have revenue sharing, profit sharing.
Right, yeah. And plus charging the professional service, or plus building your own application or your ecosystem according to your audience.
So different contracts depending on how good the idea is, right?
Yes, yes. Case by case basis. Yeah.
Yeah, because some apps are to bring in revenue and some apps are to help the infrastructure.
Yeah, or to get the word out to engage people, like Snapchat, for example. That's used mostly. That's a good example of how companies are engaging. They're bringing a particular sector of users, and they're pretty much growing from there based on that age range.
Snapchat is being bought because after the IPO, they decided to sell it. But so many companies like Snapchat are being bought.
Yeah. And the most successful thing for all these companies is a networking. So that's why you kind of stay advising in a particular role as networking, because all these companies require the networking services and security, for example. So we think that's a wise option to stick with.
Okay. Yeah. So your next project could be a surprise for you, or you'll decide what the next project is going to be?
Well, since we've had some credibility in the industry and also help some companies to grow successfully, one of the things we do partner to provide funding for companies that have some experience. We have investors that come in and they like to invest with experience in the medical industry. We have international project financers.
So you're getting involved in also funding?
Yeah, because we did work in the financial services industry, and by working in the industry, we ran across many people that were qualified, experienced, and can actually deliver like wealth management, annuities, or fintech, or worked with banking systems, so they're trustworthy.
Oh, yeah. Provide the loans necessary.
Provide the loans or the underwriting. We've been having some cases. We have some officials, there's some investment groups that look for $200 million projects, for example.
Really?
And we can.
That much?
Yes, as a minimum. And they want to invest in trophy projects or capital or companies or acquire companies. And they come to us and we help to put the projects together. But you also help to provide the technology as the projects grow, because usually you always need the technology for the projects, or the networks, or the communications, or the finance managers, or the PMs to run the project.
Okay. So. Looks like you pretty much know what you're doing. I know, because you probably went on my website. Let's take me as an example, French American TV. You would put that on an app, or not necessarily?
Yes, I would. That's a very good place to run digital media communications, and you're a leader in that area. So you have the audience, you have the experience, so it's a good way of marketing and sharing your
it could be about time to do it.
It's a good time
to do an app.
Yeah, perfect time, yeah, right. Yeah.
And an app for something online that's
communications.
That's easy to do. You just copy somebody who has done it before.
You can model. It's called model. That's most common these days. You model something that's already successful. That's how you accelerate your growth much faster.
Okay.
And there's plenty of partners.
Because the code is public on those.
The code is public, and you can take it and pretty much take a model and wrap your attributes, your systems, your services around
your website into it.
Yeah, and your services just as well.
Yeah. When you build an app, what's the name of the program that they use?
The program. First, I'd always start with a project plan to qualify the audience, the sponsorship, and then you can decide whether it's going to be more the programming language, whether it's going to be JavaScript or Python.
And who decide on those things?
That's usually the team. The team comes together, or the sponsors come together and decide they want to build for this particular, like either Android for iPhone or for both. So.
And they decide on what language they're going to write it?
They will decide. Maybe not so much as the language in the very initial. First, the most important thing is decide on the validation, the features, and then you decide on what language you're going to build it in. And that can also vary according to where in the world you want to provide that application, for example.
Okay, does the language make a difference in the final result?
The language does make a difference in the final results. So it depends on what kind of transactions you're working with. For example, if you're working in a more of a scientific application, there's more tendency to work with Python language in companies, and they say so the mindset or the support can really come from scientific communities or Python programmers, that sort of thing, and, or Java.
Scientific is Python.
Yeah,
and the other one is finance and banking.
Well, that's more of the industry vertical. It could be finance, banking, insurance, technology.
Those are which language?
Well, those languages can be in C++, it can be in Python just as well, or Java, JavaScript.
That's on the app.
Yeah, and security compliance is always a requirement. So you need to protect people's information, whether it's HIPAA regulation or financial.
So most programmers know all three. App developers know all three.
In most cases, no. But when you're a developer, you're constantly learning, or you have to have a team. It's always good to have a team of people who are willing to be involved and share and work together, right?
So if you're the team manager and you don't know, for example, the third language, then you call one of the other programmers.
Yeah, but it's always good to do your research. It's always good. I find always good to also to know how to program, to develop. Even if I'm not doing the development, I could work with the right teams or communicate respectfully with the ones who may be more experienced than I in the software development cycle.
So you decide before you even start coding which language you're going to go.
Yes, yes.
And you make the decision?
I make the decision initially, and then I'm always open to receive input if something is better.
Okay.
And proven. Yeah.
Okay, so you go to the company and say, we're going to do this in Python, and then they say, why don't we try also this and that?
Okay, or talk to the resources that I trust and saying, here's a potential proposal, here's a potential project, and how can what recommendations do you have? Sorry.
Okay, so before you even start doing all the work, there's so many things we have to put in place first. Like you have to put the column in place before you start building around it.
Yes,
I mean,
structure. Yeah.
Oh, how do you call it? The underground, forgot.
We call it modeling, basically.
Modeling?
And there's so many successful examples. You can model another company that's already done something similar and tweak it and or use some of the same, what they call APIs or resources, program resources, and you just pretty much customize it to what you would like it to be.
Oh, it's called modeling, and for us, it's called the foundation, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, there's still a foundation, like this software foundation, programming foundations, workflows.
It's called foundation also?
Yes, it can be called foundation also, yeah.
So it depends at which point in the project you come in. It could be on the layout where you do the foundation, or it could be a little bit more advanced already where they already started coding, right?
Yes, it could be either, yes.
Yeah, so your expertise is what? To save the company money, or what's your expertise?
To make the company money, to save, well, mostly to make the company's money, to build successfully, to engineer the products, the services, and having some foresight into what direction it's going for the next 3, 5, or 10 years.
Okay, and you present that before you go for it. I mean, they go for it.
Either I present or they present to me and are open to insights and ask me to advise on what to do next, what's coming down the pipeline. Oh, you give your feedback
on what they have decided. If you disagree, you tell them?
Yes, I'm being paid for it. That's part of the
consulting
experience, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. But since you have been in 3 or 4 countries, or maybe more, is there a different way that you work in different countries? Is there, like, if you work with Brazilian, it's probably a different kind of mindset over there.
Well, you have to be adaptable to wherever you are, and the bottom line is what you want to deliver, and understand the cultural communications, geolocations. For example, I could be in Brazil, but Rio is very different than Sao Paulo, and how do you do the business, and who you're doing business with. And it's similar to the U.S., like New York or Boston is different than the mentality in San Francisco. So, and who do you do business with, and who gives you the sponsorship or clarification, and who's willing to work with you.
Are there some programmers that are more dependable in some areas than others? Are there more hardworking people in some areas? What's your experience, since you have experience? What's your experience with
some are flaky.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, that's what, maybe in some areas you have experienced that too. Yeah. So then you have to find a replacement, right?
Yes, yeah. Sometimes
if they don't deliver.
That's true. But usually you have to expect that. You have to expect that they may
Not everybody's
not deliver.
perfect, right?
Yeah, it was a matter of attitude because it's not about. It's not really about. Sometimes it's when you say cultural, it's very important. It means like, will they work with the team successfully to get the job done?
Right.
Or will they whine and complain and scream and run away? So that's very important. So you have to analyze.
You don't want the whiners.
You don't want the whiners. If they
And
can
the
whine and be good if they deliver, but usually you don't want whiners.
You don't want the complainers either.
You don't want the
people
complainers.
who deliver.
People who deliver. Even if they're willing to learn, that's fine, because there's always someone willing to help. In the communities, it's usually people are willing to work together to help people.
Easily,
even if you don't have
people
experience.
easy to work with.
Yeah. In most cases, right? So.
And you find out these things on the first interview, if whether they're easygoing or not.
Sometimes yes, or also part of due diligence and checking out their references and seeing if they really have a knack. And what's been their career flow? What have they been doing? Why are they getting involved in certain coding or developing?
And the way they communicate with you, you can tell if they're easy to talk to or if they are difficult.
That's true. That can be true. Yes.
Yeah, and and the fact that you travel a lot. You yourself have to wear different cultural hats.
There's many times. Be open and be adaptable and listen and learn myself as well.
Yeah, so if you go to China, for example, they're very much advanced in terms of coding and all that. Sometimes do you find them they're way ahead of the Americans in terms of their speed? Because I've found that sometimes they are very fast.
This intensity of work is different in China or Japan or even also South America, and some areas the Americans are advanced, some they're not.
Okay.
But this digital playing field and this international, but there are many more countries that are competing and being better and are more motivated than the Americans.
Okay. So you decide who you want to hire once you have a project, whether you
or
want to
decide or advise, or recommend or
sometimes you might have an international team too.
Yeah, most cases has been international teams. I worked for at least 25 years. Yeah.
Oh, it's better to take a little bit of each.
It depends. It depends on the company, because many times you work in enterprise companies has been international, and you have to keep your mind open. And in most cases, for the last 20 years at least, it's been working with international teams.
Okay. But like we said at the beginning of the interview, some countries charge less than others.
That's true. But then sometimes you get what you pay for. So you want to really work with quality.
Be careful about that, not paying too much and then not getting the quality.
Yeah. Many times you can work locally with resources, or you can train local resources, or it's good to have hybrid teams, or some are international, some are local.
So that's also an important factor because you're working with a budget.
Yes, that's correct. Working with the budget, it has some requirements, but also you need to sort of allocate and give an honest opinion on the budget with maybe a cushion factor as well.
Oh, yeah. So this is all part of your job.
Yes, it is.
Like the budget, the qualification of the team, and delivering the project on time. And if you need more money, then you go ask for overtime, right?
Well, ask for or say that, or we might put into another budget, into another project
for the year after.
And decide what's important, what's not, and it could be the next year. It could be say the project could be a 6-month project, then it ends. Okay, but the next 6 months we're going to have this or have another set of people coming to take this.
Different project kind of thing. You reformat the project. So. Yeah, you like what you're doing?
I love it. Yeah, I love doing it. It's just have to be multitasking and think about the worst case scenarios. And
you work with people, you work with coding, you work with budget, you work with everything.
Yeah, have to be hybrid and diverse. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, your job is not just to be in front of a computer. You have to work with everything.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Are you, since you were young, were a computer wizard?
Yes, yeah.
That's what it is?
Yeah, I've been second generation probably. My mother was in telecom. She was a big influence to me.
Oh,
yes. And my father was an inventor, and he was a big influence. And we always had kits kits and stuff since I was 6 years old, I guess. So I always was around that.
Oh, that's the influence.
Around proving grounds and next to military facilities that were always trying something new. So we had the the excess equipment that we could use sometimes for
Oh,
testing
now I can see the
electronics,
influence. You
materials,
both your parents
communications,
plus the environment. Yeah.
and CAD engineers in the
Military
family.
should be like top secret, right?
Well, it wasn't really. It's more like consumer wear. Well,
Oh.
like not so much military, but there were some things. For example, communications. You're still some of the technology would come from military, or from scientific, or from universities,
Yeah.
and that includes networks and coding and the hardware. Now they call it IoT, but it always had the hands-on to actually building the devices first, and then later connecting to see how the devices connect. So now it's full circle basically.
Did you ever develop your own thing, like your own app, and
The
then
own
sell
app.
it and sell it?
An
Did you
own
sell
app.
it?
Just sell it, or I built it for companies and sold it, and they were allowed to sell it to their infrastructures, through
Oh,
their
really?
employees. Yeah,
So you have done something like you've done it,
yeah.
and then you present it.
yeah, and advised it and influenced and had procurement where companies actually brought. Right now, we do something with partner with the NBA, NFL, MLS.
So they get the
Or-
credit for your whatever you
Yes,
made.
yes, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
because it goes under their
They can
umbrella.
come under their umbrella. Yes, that's been
Oh, okay.
often the case. And they're
Is there anything that bears your name without you selling it?
I have plenty of credits. I've had some credits on projects, working with Nokia, working with enterprise projects, helping to build internet data centers.
Yeah.
And
And you just got an award like a couple days ago from the library. What did you
Yeah.
do for them?
well, that's for business and technology. Thank you. So business and technology.
Yeah.
It was a matter of helping locals or leaders or educators or people to say, how can I get involved in technology? And many times it would help them to decide, like, well, what have you done in your life, and what would you want to do next? So why do you think you need to be involved in technology? Where's your strength and where's your weakness? And maybe work from the strength and help them to move over into using it to get involved in technology. And it could be whether a business owner or
You
business
mean
office
with young
manager.
people?
It's been with different ages,
Oh.
from 15 to 78 years old.
Oh, really?
And
So it was like a community project for them?
there were several community projects, was either on call or on demand, and it's been amongst supporting, for example, Mission Bay Library. I was there too. I gave a lecture on cybersecurity and mobile and helping how do you protect yourself as a consumer.
Okay,
so-
because you have done all these services on your own time, then they gave you the award?
Well, that's on my own time, and I was willing to contribute and help to encourage emerging education and technology. And so.
Oh, that's good. So you have spoken at how many libraries in San Francisco? Like Mission Bay and the
Mission
local civic
Bay,
center?
local civic center, and I've also spoken at Stanford, and
Okay.
then helped with MIT for building, getting with professors for validating mobile applications and development. So
You hope to get into a school next, or you don't know yet?
I'm willing to support schools, and I think I like to work sometimes in ways to how do you get the schools to be self-sufficient,
Yeah.
to earn revenue along with the technology and education. So it can enable
So that
more.
would be an interesting project for you next.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I hope maybe Stanford will contact you. You never
There's
know.
plenty of opportunity.
Yeah,
everywhere,
I mean, for someone who has never done your job, there's so much involved. I mean, you got to learn everything from budgeting to organizing to team playing
The team playing. Yeah.
and to project management. So you wear within your job different hats. You got to know every facets of how to manage your team.
Yeah, I have great coaching along the way, and still keeping contact with influential
You
colleagues.
become in some sort of a CEO rather than a CTO sometimes. I mean,
Yes,
you become
that's
the
right.
manager.
Yes,
You become
that's
the
correct, yeah.
manager.
I like to take a low profile CTOs or
It's
I like to
lower
I
profile.
like to be more involved in the technology
Part of
and
the
the
company.
CEO sometimes when I have to, or I would prefer CTO and managing partner because it's open to work with other companies just as well to leverage and to get the jobs done.
Yeah, and yesterday you talked about helping people get the funding. So because you have worked in the financial world, you know these people, you can connect them. Is that
And
what-
been an investor in the past, in the venture capital in the past, and helping to also, for me, because I was so technical, I wanted to see how every single thing worked along the way and prove the concept. For example, when I was working in Bank of America or with Visa Projects or Pacific Stock Exchange, or also as a 1031 exchange director.
You get connection with all these companies?
Yeah, I was actually working in these companies. That was my experience to work with the financial operations. Yeah, so understanding that and being able to tweak or work with numbers or worst case scenarios and Bloomberg technologies, that sort of thing.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So there's nothing in the horizon that you're going to change profession. You like what you're doing.
I like what I'm doing, yeah. It's all data. It's all data. It's all the same.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope to see you again at the Google Hangout.
And you're welcome to come anytime.
And it's called the Launchpad, Launch.
Launch. Yes, that's correct.
Launchpad. So sometimes they launch a startup. Is that what it means?
Well, it helps startups to go there to launch, to meet, and to work on actual projects. And I was invited by a group called Mobile Monday, and they've been pretty great. And
they have a Mobile Monday?
Yeah, they actually focus on helping people to become more successful in the...
with their app.
Yes. We also had startups have gotten involved, and they've actually are ready to go to the next level, and they've had shows.
And get the funding?
Get the funding or get the qualification, get the visibility. Well, they could be on a show like yours.
As a CTO, you can advise the venture capitalists whether it's viable or not?
Yes, that's often been the case. And help with, I've done it with some companies and working with them, advising when they're pre-IPO and what's successful, what works, and who to connect to.
So that's very important to the venture capitalists, whether it's viable or not.
Yes.
So that's what you do then.
That's been...
Okay, well, I think I understand a little bit better what you do now. Even though I spoke to you for a long time yesterday, but now I'm putting the pieces together because you have done so many things. It's hard. I mean, I know. I'm sure you're going to add more pieces as you get more projects.
Pretty much most over a couple of decades of experience at least. So it's just like.
You don't look that old, but you know.
This will be a 30-year anniversary. Actually, I started in 1977 doing this initially.
Really?
As the source.
So 30 years in the industry?
Yes.
How long have you been just an entrepreneur, just your own company?
And it's been ongoing ever since I was 14. I've always been had something on the side or doing something or looking for something to improve. I always had a passion to improve something.
Yeah, because you're a subcontractor. I mean, you're a contractor, and because you take different projects, you are your own company.
Yeah, and I would find different ways to make things work, or things were working too perfectly, so how can you improve it?
Okay, and your company is Alexander Networks.
Yes, correct.
AlexanderNetworks.com?
AlexanderNetworks.tech.
.tech?
Yeah.
.tech, do people use .tech?
Very few, but I have it. If someone's actually looking for me, I want them to actually be looking for the company, not just to hope to find AlexanderNetworks.com, for example. It was in the past, but we think we've gotten more recognition or more credibility with the .tech domain.
That's awesome. So, is it a very expensive?
No, it's about the same. It's called TLD. It's about the same.
Is as expensive as .com?
It's about the same pricing. It's all a matter of how you...
Because I have .tv and it costs like $50-some. It's much more expensive than .com.
Well, that's very unique because it's more of a specialty and you're connecting to digital media and it's more of a mass attraction. So for that reason, what they call the TLDs, those extents.
So there are a lot more .tech now?
Yeah, there are more .techs, there are .tvs, .coms, .nets, and also you consider what industry that you're in. And you have
and .co is for startups, right? New ideas?
.co is a new, what they call TLD, an extent for startups that want to be cool, or for millennials,
Oh, okay. So if you're a startup, you take .co.
.co can be something, but still .com and .net are the strongest.
They can buy both.
They can buy both, but sometimes there's a shortage and it's not available, so they may start with .co and maybe hope to later there's a .com available, or they acquire a company.
They buy it. They buy the domain.
They buy the domain, yeah.
Yeah, but when you do an app, is .what? It's just the name of the company?
It could be, an app can come as the domain, or it can come as a service.
Just the name of the domain. There is no dot.
Or it's not necessarily to have a website or a domain just for the app. You can have
just the name.
You can just have the name of the app and then have it populated in the app stores or the marketplace stores.
No, like if I type LinkedIn, I don't need to put LinkedIn.com on my iPhone. It's just LinkedIn.
Yes.
Facebook's the same thing, Facebook. I don't need to put .com on my iPhone.
That's correct.
So you just put the name of the company on the iPhone. And if one company has .net and the other one has .com and the other one has .tech, then...
Well, one of the most important things when it's an app you're going to the mobile store, you want to make sure that the author of the app is actually the company, because it says by whom.
Oh.
So you want to make sure that you have something that's, say if it's LinkedIn, for example, it actually is coming from LinkedIn, and you can look further to see if that connection is actually to LinkedIn, the company.
The
if that's
real
the real
LinkedIn. The real LinkedIn.
And that's also another way to avoid from being hacked, because sometimes you have imposter apps.
Oh,
and,
they copy the exact
thing. They copy
thing.
something, and you download it from a source that's not credible.
Oh, yeah.
And you can actually install the
something that's not protected.
Yes, yes.
But the thing is, the big companies like Google, they buy all the extensions. They buy
they would.
All the countries, .com, .fr, .it,
Yes.
they buy all of them.
That's correct. That's mostly the case here. They will buy
They're all in all the countries.
Right.
So they buy all the
credibility,
all the country extensions, and then some buy even everything.
Yes,
the
true.
.net and the .com and the .co and the whatever.
Yeah. It's a good business as well. It's a good business to buy and to hold on to domains, and because also there's some brokerage you can actually do, like individuals, anyone can actually buy a domain. You can also, as similar to what you buy real estate, you can actually buy the domain. You can sit, you can let it appreciate and grow.
Because I have .tv, I have .com, and I used to have .org when I started, but then I stopped that. But I did myself reserve extensions of several. But for my own, I use .tv, and for YouTube, I use .com, and then I could do more, but. Yeah, so it's a very complex business out there. I mean, there's so much variety.
That's true, yeah. There's another opportunity, yeah.
So anyway, it was a pleasure to find out more about iCanFax.com. Do you have any connection with faxing? And fax is outdated now.
No. It's just a name, and the jokes are better these days. There's less jokes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.